alignment, and more specifically, piked shapes. You may have heard this name before and not be quite sure what this entails. Do we have to arch? Can we keep our shoulders open? Do we have to keep the posterior pelvic tilt? How does the piked position work? When are we ready to perform them? When is it too soon to work on them? All those questions answered in this video. Piked refers to a specific kind of alignments. And instead of thinking of all the different shapes and forms and positions you can eventually master freestanding while on your hands, you want to start seeing the similarities between them. Again, this is back to the idea that is at the very core of the Handstand Academy, that is, can we find a smarter way to train? Can we be more mindful in the way we approach handstands so that we can make progress faster? And should I say, can we see what your body and your nervous system likes first, capitalize on that, and use that as a solid basis to conquer the rest of the goals that you may have in mind, instead of mindlessly going for whatever is being thrown at you and hoping that you will make progress this way. And so in that way of thinking, instead of assuming that every position can be held the same, that once you have conquered, let's say, the straight handstand, you can easily master the straddle, the tuck, the Mexican handstand. And instead of thinking on the other side of the spectrum that each and every single position you will want to master tomorrow will require the same amount of work as what you're currently putting to master your first handstand. None of that is exactly true. And to simplify things and streamline our journey, I like to think of alignments as three big families of positions. Each family has different family members. The kinship between those family members, the bonds that exist between those, allows us to very easily go from one position to the other. In other words, they're so similar that they feel almost the same. And therefore, once we have mastered one position in one family, it is quite easy to conquer the ones around it. On the other hand, understanding what it takes to hold a handstand in one of those families of alignments will be quite different from what it takes to master another family. The good news is we only have three families of alignments. The first is the straight-ish family. And we say ish because it doesn't have to look straight. In this family, you will find the straight handstand, the V shape, the stag, the charger, the banana, the wide V shape, closed shoulders, staggered leg positions, the teapot, and many others. All those positions belong to the same family because they have something in common. One or both legs are past vertical, and that is what allows you to actually stay in balance. And if that doesn't make sense, I invite you to check the counterweight theory video that you have in your rocket course. What you will notice, and the reason why we call this the straight-ish family, is that the shoulder angle changes. We can perform those positions, usually with closed shoulders, open shoulders, or something in between. For instance, the stag belongs to the straight-ish family. In the stag, both legs are staggered and bent, and we can easily perform a stag with open shoulders, very closed shoulders, or somewhere in between. The next family of alignments is piked positions. In the piked family, you will find the straddle, the tuck, the diamond, the frog, the straight pike, the seven, and many other variations. Now, given everything we just said about the straight family and the underlying logic behind it, can you guess what unites the different family members of the piked family? I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. It has to do with your alignment and how your body is positioned upside down. Did you get it? The answer is the pelvis is consistently past vertical. And while in the straight-edge family, we had one or both legs pass vertical, in the piked family, we're going to have the pelvis pass vertical. The legs, as a consequence, will usually be undershot before vertical. And as you may notice, as long as that pelvis stays nice and out, it's actually quite easy to go from one position to the other. Illustrating again this logic of kinship. You master one of those and the others will come to you quite naturally. Even more so, you find out, given how your body reacts, which of those positions suit you best, which is exactly what we go through in our rocket homework. And then you know which one you should put your chips behind, which one deserves your attention for the next few months. And once you have conquered that and solidified it, the others will come quite quickly to you. And that's how we train smartly. The last family of alignments, and we won't speak too much about it for reasons we will elaborate just now, is the Hollowback family. The Hollowback family has in common the fact that the position of the shoulders over the hands is not vertical nor diagonally leaning forwards towards the fingertips, but instead diagonally leaning backwards away from the fingertips. The Mexican handstand and contortion variations of piked handstands can be found in this family. The reason why I don't want you to worry about it is that until you have a solid, consistent freestanding handstand, you actually want to refrain from doing anything that resembles the hollowback shoulder motion. Hollowbacking is one of the bad habits we have to remove as beginners and improvers, because our lack of body awareness at that stage of the position of the shoulders over the hands is usually what calls the end of our handstand. When you balance with the wall, sputter, or freestanding, and you open your shoulders, but this happens at the expense of the stack of the shoulders over your hands, you lose your handstand because you hollow backed. When you kick up, and same thing, you're flexing your shoulders, but you don't have the body awareness around your shoulder position, you end up moving them away from the fingertips, you start hollow backing, and you never get to the position you could have balanced. Do not underestimate this. It ends up being a pain in the ass for at least half of the beginners and improvers I work with. So for now, close this door, because if you play with those positions, you're gonna end up confusing yourself if anything else. Master first the straight-ish and the piked families. And once you have 30 seconds freestanding, have fun if you want with the hollowback family of alignments.